Right. Job number one, darlings, and a jolly good evening, by the way. But this isn't the proper good evening. I haven't started yet. Obviously, this is the wrong thing. Now, obviously, you were in Wales last night, were you not? So I need to get you in the right position. And in fairness, you're not far off. You're not far off. I'll tell you what, we will whittle you over here just a wee bit, get you a bit more central. That's lovely. Eh? Tell you what, let's just have a look. Oh, I'm going to take that. I'm taking that. I'm taking that, darlings. Right. Get cracking, shall us? Unto the death goes all his state, his princes, prelates, and potestates. Base, rich, and poor of all degree, till them what is conturbat me. There we go. God, I need that. We need that. Right, now we can start properly, can't we? Good evening, Pufflings, and a very warm welcome indeed to Tuesday Night Live with me, your old chum Boaty, and I am back at home after a lovely little breakaway, and I couldn't be happier to see all of these familiar names of wonderful friends and bogs and community members, and I am utterly convinced that tonight is going to be nothing less than a joy, quite frankly. And in the next packed hour of community joy, we've got all of the normal things. We've got the Hedgehog of Truth. We've got Miss Hedgie, whose superpowers are still as yet unknown. We've got a candle slightly in the wrong place, but how is that still going? How is that still going? It's a mystery almost beyond comprehension. We've got a Sean's box that's going to get a right old pounding, and as you may have just heard, we have got a portable community electric telephonic device upon which you can, should you so wish, leave a voice note. Gosh, how exciting is that? And somebody has already done exactly that. So that's something to look forward to, isn't it? Now then, in a few short moments, I'm going to dive headfirst into your comments because, and I make no secret of this, your comments are the meat and potatoes of this Momo with chutney bowl that we're having and eating with a spoon. Oh dear. Oh. But before any of that, I'm going to have a goodly slurp of my wine, which hopefully will perk me up because I'm beyond knackered, darlings. I've had about 10 hours sleep in the last 4 days, I think, and I am. Ugh. Anyway, nothing is going to detract me from enjoying the bewildered buttocks out of this next 55 minutes that we're going to spend together as we wave away Tuesday and we welcome in Wednesday, hump day, the middle of the working week, as it used to be, and half day closing in Gleneath and Resolven. These days, of course, not. Anyway, I'm just shut up. I'm just going to have a drink of this. Cheers, your very good health. Bottoms up yours, and above all, get stuffed. Oh, oh. Well, there's nothing. Oh, hello. There's absolutely no. Oh. There's nothing wrong with that, darlings. Right, first cab off the rank tonight was our very own Jimmy Quinn. Good evening, Boaty and all. And a jolly good evening to you, Jimmy. He was followed by Carol C., Stu, Steve Cole, Peter P. Um, oh God. Uh, um, No, he's not still in Slanded now. The lovely Shelley Denise has joined us. Paulie Galtieri, Richard. Oh, excuse me. Who else have we got? Who else have we got? Oh God, you have been busy. You have been busy, you lot. Matron's here. Evening all, says Matron. Skick, the lovely Skick is with us. Paul Birch is here. Good evening to you. Yup, bum, bum. Yup, 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 yup. Jim Bob is with us. Jim Bob is with us. Jolly good. Your body clock's messed up. Bloody hell, try having mine. Diane, stand by your beds. Diane Sturdy, the head mistress, joins us, darlings. All right, jolly good. On your feet, name and number. Diane is here. Well done, Skip. Mark Passad is here. A jolly good evening to you. Hi, everyone, says Carol C. I wonder if the restaurant was quiet. No, we've been very busy tonight. And if the builders turned up, no, they didn't. And I don't think they're going to now. Ram was asking me what I thought was going to be the outcome of upstairs. And honestly, I'll tell you exactly what I think the outcome is going to be. I think that the young landlord, who is a very young man, very inexperienced in life and business and everything, remember, he just inherited all of this. I think he's going to learn a valuable life lesson because he is screwed now, quite honestly. He has handed over 52,000 of the King's pounds in the expectation that these people will do the job as quoted correctly. Now, they quoted a maximum of 2 months. It's been about 9 months. They've lied, they have cheated, and they've stolen. They have not paid the local suppliers, more than one, for the things that they have taken and used. And I've been told by 2 people that the work has not been done to anything like the correct standard. How true that is, I don't know, but that is what I have been told. Now, if they decide that that's as far as they're going to go with it, there's not a great deal that anybody can do, I would imagine, because I don't know. But I don't think this has been the sort of deal where there is a contract that can be enforced in law. And quite honestly, I doubt whether anybody is registered with any kind of body that one could go to, you know. So I honestly, if you ask me what I think is going to happen, I think that whether they come back to finish off or not, I think it's all going to have to be done again by somebody who knows what they're doing. So I think that the lesson the young landlord is going to learn is to be a bit more selective and a bit more careful and not be so trustworthy and not try and cut corners, because I think he's going to pay twice. If they come back and finish it off, I think it's going to have to be done again, or bits of it are going to have to be done again. And if they don't come back and finish it off, he's got to pay somebody to do it all. So that would be my guess. But honestly, haven't got a clue. And it's, yeah, I mean, you all know what the situation is. It's utterly ridiculous. We've got a yard that we're paying for that we can't use. We should have just pulled out and gone long ago. You know, it's not as if we haven't got a choice. Millions of pounds sitting in the bloody bank. You know, we should have just torn the lease up, sued the landlord for everything, and just got a new premises. And that's what we should do now. But there you go. There you go. So I'm not even thinking about wanting to get. Well, I am. I'm annoyed that I'm thinking about it. I'm annoyed that I even thought for a second the builders would turn up on Saturday, as they had promised they would. It's, yeah, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for anybody. Well, apart from the builders, who, or whichever one of the builders has pocketed the money. We've got some voice notes to read out there, darlings. I've whizzed through the comments a bit, so should we fire into the voice notes? Well, they're still nice and fresh. Why not? Oh, we've got quite a few. Right, let's deal with these. We've got 3, and the next voice you hear will be from the Leisure Peninsula. Oh.
Hedgehog of truth, sir.
Oh.
Were you really in the bollocks by Carol Ann, or didn't you really send the photo, sir? Or did it just end up you sorted it, sir? Anyway, it was nice to see it on your live last night, sir. And how's your day been? What have you been
Hang on, I missed that. What was the
Hedgehog
question?
of truth, sir. Were you really in the bollocks by Carol Ann, or didn't you really send the photo, sir? Or did it just end up you sorted it, sir? Anyway, it was nice to see it on your live last night, sir. And how's your day been and what have you been up to? I miss.
Right. No, I didn't send a photo. I said that last night, didn't I? How's my day been? What have I been up to? Well, I was in Llandudno this morning, and then I came home, and that was it really. Got home, had a coffee, had a shower, went to work. I mean, more specifically, then this morning I was up very early indeed. I can't remember exactly what time it was, but certainly before 8 o'clock, I was in the sea, and then had breakfast in the hotel, which I totally didn't pay for. Then we went into town and went to Ormo Lounge and had beverages and chilled out. And then went our separate ways. And then, yeah, drove home quite leisurely. Yeah, got home, had a shower, had a coffee, went to work, came back from work, and now I'm here.
I went out for my breakfast, sir, to the restaurant, and this evening I had sausage, new potatoes and beans, followed by a nice cake and a posh coffee again, sir.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, thank you very much. Look forward to watching tonight.
Good. Thank you.
P.S. Don't forget to pound your boxer.
I won't forget. I've got it ready here. Look.
And P.S. We're all cheeky bastards here, sir. Or if you want to put it nicer, cheeky gets. Did you buy Carol Ann a present for Valentine's Day, sir? Because we noticed a little like bag on the table.
That wasn't Valentine's Day. That was an anniversary gift.
Thank you very much, sir. Look forward to watch the live stream tonight.
Good.
I think the landlord gives your boss gives the landlord 2 options: to buy the place, otherwise you leave now.
Yeah, I agree.
And you move, sir.
I agree. Yeah. I've said that
the
before.
Option, because, as you say, upstairs looks a load of shit.
It does, yeah.
To be honest, it sounds like the mechanic who ripped me off, sir. Remember he said he took up my money, basically, and did naff.
It happens.
I lent it very expensive lesson, sir. I won't be getting any cowboy garage to look at my motor again, sir.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Sorry you got done over.
Well, I say that's what I reckon your boss should do now. Just pull out.
I agree.
Or give the option, say, we'll buy the place. If not, just go.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Know what kind of damage has been done upstairs? Could be like a death trap now, sir. Ceilings already fell through once.
Not just once, about 12 times. But I completely agree with you, Mr. P. No, who's this? Would you manage the building work? Then you can see what's going on. Well, I would love to, but unfortunately, I'm not in that position. I didn't engage the contractors under normal circumstances, as it's a business that I'm taking on. Then, yeah, naturally, I would have been overseeing and in control of every single aspect. That's the way that I work. I micromanage my businesses to the nth degree. But yeah, the situation was completely out of my hands. So yeah, I would, but it's not been an option. Um, if it was, if it did have to be done again, or other people were involved, or whatever, then yeah, I would absolutely insist on it. But there we are. There we are. All right, back to the old comments. Oh, Tonic 110 is with us. Good evening, all. Sorry for being missing in action, but a rough couple of days. Much better now, though. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. How's things, asked Matron? And yeah, I would love to know too. Hope things are better. Oh, and there we are. Tonic says things have calmed down a bit. Thanks for asking. That's good. Um, Diane's been absent because of Valentine's, and it took her days to open the massive sack of cards she received. Quite rightly, Steve McDonald is with us. A jolly good evening to you, sir. Pointing out that I was late on parade. I was indeed. I apologise. Um, I hope Barry's better. Yeah, says Stu. Yeah, I think we all do. He wasn't having a good night last night, was he? The M11 is with us, the lovely Emma. Hello, all. I'm in bed and a bit sleepy, so I'll see how long I can last. Well, this is lovely, says Mark. After Mustard's live stream, here we all are again. He's back on the old live stream thing, isn't he, old Mustard? Every time I look, he's doing the live stream again, which is nice. Does that candle run on red mercury? I have got no idea how that candle is still going. If you want to see how it started life about 6 months ago, this is the candle that it is. It is a John Lewis Any Day candle, and what a revelation it has truly been. It is a remarkable candle. And God, I mean, we're going to get tonight out of it. Will we get tomorrow as well? The longevity has just been remarkable beyond words. Well, not beyond words. So, you know, I'm telling you how remarkable it's been. And if it was remarkable beyond words, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have been able to do that, but I did, so it isn't. Uh, General Cheeseburger is with us and joins us with, and I particularly love this. He greets us with the title of a Maclad song, "A Up, Let's Up, A Up, Let's Up." One of my favourite Maclad numbers. Good evening, Cheesy. Is the iPhone still facing backwards? Asked Jim Bob. It is indeed, yes. Everybody saying hello to Cheesy. Andrew Buttigieg is here and greets everybody by name. The lovely Ibis Spotty Butty. Steve McDonald says, "Good evening, Boaty." That's fine, says Mark Basad. Minimal wonk. Yeah, I didn't do a bad job, did I? And yeah, you're looking fine there. You're looking good, you lot. Sitting there in your Wincy 90s with your leg hair waving in the breeze. Lots of hellos flying around. Did you check the hotel room for cameras? Asked Steakolg. No. Well, I mean, I checked it for my cameras. Wouldn't occur to me. I really liked that room. I would request that room again. Oh, although if you want an update, not directly from the horse's mouth, but kind of, it's going to be a 0 star from Carol, who was nibbled a lot last night and is now very itchy. Whereas I had a very comfortable night indeed, and my room was fabulous. I loved that room. I loved that room. I loved the view. I loved the fact that it was all on the wonk. Oh, little bit of a gripe. After being in the sea this morning, I really wanted a hot shower, and my shower didn't work. Couldn't get any hot water out of the shower at all. Tried everything, couldn't get it. So that was a little bit disappointing, I suppose. But but then I didn't pay for breakfast. So you know, it's as wide as it is long, isn't it? The candle is a bit poorly, says Jim Bob. Don't you knock that candle. That candle has, it cost about, I think it cost 49p or 50p more than the Sainsbury's ones, but it's lasted at least 6 times as long. And there's going to be virtually no wastage. Look at it. It's burning right down to the floor of the doings. And that is just, I am, I find that candle utterly remarkable. Uh, Where did you and Carol go for breakfast today, and what did you both have? Boaty asked Matron. Well, we kind of did two. Initially, we stayed in the hotel, and now I'd already had to, I took my Tassimo. I learned my lesson. So I took my Tassimo, and I had two coffees in my room. I had one before going in the sea and one afterwards. Um, and so then, yeah, downstairs, Carol just had, oh, Carol takes her own breakfast. She has a granola or something. She always does it, and yeah, she has it in a room. So she kind of did that as normal. So downstairs in the hotel, um, the restaurant still wasn't open, but they put a basic buffet breakfast on in the rooms where we were before. Presumably, if you remember 2 weeks ago, there were massive delays, and presumably they must have got a lot of complaints because they'd set up a basic buffet breakfast in the other rooms. Not complete. There wasn't a toaster or anything like that. You had to order toast. And so Carol had a posh coffee. Um, no, because again in the breakfast room it was instant coffee again, I think. So I'd already had two coffees, so I was fine. I had a couple of glasses of what passes for apple juice at a hotel buffet breakfast, which is 1 part apple juice and 9 parts water, I think. Carol ordered a proper coffee, and I blagged the breakfast, except that I kind of had a look at it and I thought, yeah, even if it's free, I don't fancy that. Um, so I had two sausages and a ladle of baked beans, and I didn't eat it all. So yeah, it wasn't great. So yeah, so we did that, and then that took us, so just hung about and chilled out, same as the night before, really, just a massive chill out zone. And then we checked out just before 10 o'clock, um, and took a wander into town. And again, just headed straight for the old Ormo Lounge, jumped into one of the sumptuous leather couches, and I had a coffee. Carol had a pot of English breakfast tea. Neither of us had anything to eat from there, and we just chilled out there for a couple of hours, or basically, and that was kind of that. uh, where did it get to? Cheers, good health, and up yours, says Mark. Indeed, indeed. You've had more sleep than me, I bet, Boaty, says Jim Bob. Possibly. I don't know. Book a room at the Sherpa's Lodge and build it yourself to your liking. Well, his cousin builders were pissing in a wheelbarrow or something, weren't they? It's just effing builders are pants, says Jim Bob. Schoolboy error for the young landlord. He's gonna learn. Jim Bob, they weren't builders, certainly not by our standards. I don't think they're builders by any standards, to be honest. It's I don't know. I mean, it's um it's an idiotic situation, isn't it? I mean, we're what, 8, 9 months down the line now. We've still got We still can't use 60% of the yard. Ram is still paying the rent. I said to him tonight, I said, for fuck's sake, stop paying the rent. Just stop. Oh, I know, but what can I do? What can I do? Oh, it's if I thought about it properly, I would be so annoyed and so frustrated that I would probably just walk away from everything because it's idiotic beyond words and beyond belief. And nobody, I think the only people that have got any clue about what they're doing is ironically the builders, who, when it comes to building, don't have a clue what they're doing. But when it comes to ripping people off, they've got an excellent clue what they're doing. They're not paying for their materials. They're not paying the workers by all accounts, and they're not doing the work. So they know what they're doing, but no bugger else does. The landlord is just saying, "What can I do? What can I do?" and occasionally bursting into tears. Bish is just losing his temper and wanting to beat the shit out of them, which probably isn't a bad way to go. Whoops. Um, but then he's saying, "Look, he's saying he's a young lad. He doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't got the experience. What can he do? Just it'll probably all be all right in the end." And just nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Um, I mean, there are options. There are options, right? If he's paid the builders the whole amount, and apparently they're either relatives or close family friends or something or whatever, then it's not difficult. If you've paid the money and they're seriously taking the piss and they're beyond taking the piss, you send the boys in. Right? It's 52 grand. It's a fair chunk of change. Now, trust me, some of you will know 52 people disappear for that kind of money. Certainly bones get broken. And at that point you just send the boys round. If you can't take them to court, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other, you send the boys round. It's the only way of dealing with it. That's if you're the landlord. um, Mr. Parry nailed it. I've said it before. We should put the clamps on the landlord and say, look, either sell us the property um, at a price which is going to factor in everything that we're going to have to do upstairs, or we're just effing off. And if we F off, we're going to sue your ass for a lot of money, breach of contract, loss of business, loss of good name, blah, 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 blah. So, but. Uh, Should have engaged a solicitor from the outset to draw up a JCT contract and a full suite of construction docs. I completely agree, Cheeseburger, but it wasn't within our remit. We didn't sort it. Now, we're sorting the other one, we're sorting the hotel, and it's being done completely by the book by reputable architects, reputable British building firm. And yeah, everything is contracted, 100% watertight, 100%, and it will all be absolutely fine. That's the point. This was out of our control. Um, in hindsight, what the landlord should have done would have been to say, right, it's in shit condition. You take it, you get it sorted out, and there'll be no rent for the first 3 years or whatever. But anyway. Uh, O'Reilly is a cowboy, Basil. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, you workmen, cut a leg off and get DIY SOS in, whatever that is. Uh, it probably will cost more undoing the bodging, I would imagine. Uh, you mentioned this before, Cheeseburger, conversion. There isn't a conversion. I don't know where you got this idea from. There is no conversion. It's simply a building that hasn't been converted in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not understanding the converting thing. Uh, Richard says, I live 10 minutes from Mr. Parry. Port Sunlight is nice, very chocolate box looking, but Birkenhead is a shit. Uh, Emma says, Boaty, did you meet up with the Liverpudlians from last night this morning as planned? I certainly did, Emma. I certainly did. Not on the beach. I was obviously too early on the beach, and yeah, there were a couple of early morning joggers and dog walkers about, and that was about it. Otherwise, and they were up on the promenade. The beach was utterly deserted. I was the only person on there. But yeah, I met up with them in the hotel. Good to be here, says Josh, and we're delighted that you are here. Winsiet nighties, says to you. Yeah, I imagine you were all wearing Winsiet nighties. Nighties. The Mac lad, says Mark Prasad, saw them in Hull in 1986. Not a nice bunch, but catchy tunes. I saw them live in Goldwyn's in Birmingham in, God, it would be 87 or 88. And if you ever see me naked from the waist up and you look about there, then you will see a scar there from where I got stabbed at that concert. Um, yeah, it's true. I got stabbed at Goldwyn's. The chap was very apologetic. It wasn't meant for me, it was meant for somebody else. But yeah, I got winged. And it was a bit chaotic because uh, when I was younger, darlings, I had a bit of a temper, quite a lot of a temper, actually. Um, and I wouldn't lose my temper all that easily, but when I did lose my temper, I lost it completely. And oddly enough, being stabbed made me lose my temper, and it all got. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. So don't get. But oh yeah, the Maclads. Uh, are you going back to Wales next week again, Boaty? Asks Jim Bob. And that is a very good question. And the answer to that is I don't know, but possibly. There are. I've got no plans for next Monday as yet. Um, and but yeah, so I don't know. Honestly haven't thought about it. There are no plans, but I wouldn't be averse to the idea for sure. Um, I'd love to get back to Carnarvon, Carnarvon. Um, but I did have a thought about next Monday. I don't know. I'll speak to some people and see what's going on. But I did have a thought. It's been too long since I've seen my Shawnee, and I did think, I might whiz down and see Shawnee next Monday. It's been because it's home as well, isn't it? And it's coming up to a year since I saw Sean, and a year since I've been home to my actual home. So I haven't thought about it particularly. Certainly haven't made any plans. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised, Jim Bob, if I was back in Wales somewhere next Monday. It's it kind of just feels like a nice thing to do, you know. I just really enjoy it. And I'll be honest, for the first time, for the first time this morning or this afternoon it was kind of a wrench. It was kind of a wrench, and I thought, I wish I was staying here. I wish I wasn't going home, and that's never happened before because you know how much I adore Windy Bum, but I had a really good break last night, and the weather was nice, and Llandudno was beautiful, and I kind of didn't. I didn't want to do the journey that soon after having done it in the other direction. I kind of didn't want to come home at that time and have to quickly get a shower and then go to work. I wished I could have had another night, to be honest. Um, yeah, yeah, and that hasn't really happened before. I'm, I'm you do the thing and then you're kind of ready to get home and get back to normality, and I could have easily done that second night. I would have loved to have done it all over, but hey ho, hey ho. That makes me sound ungrateful, and I'm I'm grateful that I was able to get away. I was able to have a night in a reasonably nice hotel. Although your shower might not work, you might get the arse bitten out of you by things living in the bed. But yeah, and I was grateful to be able to spend my third night of the year in Llandudno. How great is that? We're only halfway through February, and I've already had three Llandudno visits this year. So I can't grumble. I really can't grumble. And even if I did have to come home and go to work and whatnot, um, it's not that long until next Monday, is it? And if I want to, I can go back. Or there are other options. Or I could stay here and do stuff and go to the cinema. I have got things that I want to do here as well. Um, I'm excited about so much stuff this year. There are so many things. There are things that you don't know about that are going to be happening this year that are going to be really, really exciting and really good for the channel, I think. I hope. Oh, excuse me. And maybe good for you guys too. I'm also looking forward to my supper tonight. Back to staff curry, darlings. Oh, you can't beat a bit of staff curry, can you? Oh, and tomorrow it's going to be a special lunch. I'm defrosting the Momo chutney. It's going to be a Momo lunch tomorrow. Oh, hello. A call of the telephonic variety. Good evening, mystery caller.
Good evening, Boaty.
Good evening. I've got a picture of you popped up on my phone.
That's what I look like.
Oh, you look lovely. Oh, you look very avuncular. Oh, you look lovely.
I was just going to say that certain places sit in our soul, and Llandudno obviously sits in yours.
It does very much, very much. If you watch my birthday video, I think it's called Sea Dip Winter Sea Dip Challenge and a night at the Grand Hotel, something like that. Then I went on a long walk, sort of like from 2 to 3:30 a.m., something like that. And I talked about my whole history with the place. And yeah, more so than anywhere else, it's probably the place that has got the biggest part of my heart and part of my soul. It is really special to me. I mean, it's a lovely place in its own right as well, but yeah, it's very special to me.
So for a very short period of time, my family lived in Abergavenny.
I know Abergavenny very well indeed.
And the Black Mountains were somewhere which I just fell in love with.
Yeah, I can understand that. Abergavenny is actually lovely. Now, whenever I go home, I go through, although you bypass Abergavenny these days, of course. But yeah, whenever I go home, I effectively go through Abergavenny. There is a Waitrose there, which is rather splendid.
I know it's become very sort of gentrified.
Yeah, and they have an amazing like farmers food market thing there. or they did have the last time I was there anyway, and that was extraordinary. The artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty spent about a year's wages on the stuff that she found there.
Did you ever get a chance to go to the walnut tree?
Oh no, no, I didn't. That's the that's the gastropub, isn't it? Hasn't it got a Michelin
Yeah, it was
star?
sort of like an early adopter of the gastropub vibe.
Yeah. And didn't it get a Michelin star at some point?
I think they did have one once.
Yeah. No, I never got to do that, but I am aware of it. It did cross my radar. Did you?
It was an extraordinary experience in the late 80s.
Does it go as far back as that?
Yeah. We moved up there in 1984.
And the walnut tree was there then? Or
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a pub in 84.
Yeah.
And then it was taken over by this chef and his family in 85. And they sort of made it into this institution which everybody knew.
Right.
And it became this sort of like, you know, standout restaurant, gastropub during the 90s when, you know, gastropubs were very, very popular.
Yeah.
But by then the family had moved away.
Ah, okay. No, I never knew that. We didn't get out there all that much, to be completely honest. It was, it was. To be honest, it was.
Did you ever go cycling around there?
Did I ever
cycle around there?
Yeah. Not a massive amount. I never trained around Abergavenny, but I did. Do you know the tumble?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I did the Tour de Britain twice when we went up the tumble.
Good Lord. You must have had thighs of steel.
It's yeah. There was. I'm trying to remember the details now. There was a super long stage, a ridiculous stage, and I honestly can't remember it. I think it was something crazy like Birmingham, Cardiff, or something, and they threw in the detour and threw you over the tumble. I think that was the first time I rode it, and none of us knew it. And it kind of took everybody by surprise, and it just goes on. I remember that it just goes on, almost never. It was carnage that day, but and the other times that I've ridden around there, let's see, around Abergavenny. Okay, well, more Monmouth side than Abergavenny side, there was an excellent 25-mile time trial course called the R25-7. And I rode that. Oh, there was a specific event.
That's reasonably flat around Monmouth, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the R25-7 was, it was like... it was like a 12-mile run down to Monmouth, down the dual carriageway, and then you just before you got to, and it was basically all very slightly downhill, and then when you got to Monmouth and you got to the tunnel, then that's where the turn was. So you went up over the tunnel, back round that lane, and then rejoined the dual carriageway.
Did you go through the town?
Sorry?
Did you go through the town past the school?
No. You turned. So you're heading down into Monmouth from the south, and you turned. So you came off the dual carriageway, went over the tunnel at the beginning of the tunnel. So you didn't go into the tunnel. You turned left just before. You went up and over the tunnel, turned right, and so you're heading back on yourself then, and you're about a mile on a lane, and then you rejoined the dual carriageway, and then it was just a gradual uphill all the way until the finish. But that was the course where I set my personal best, and a course record and a national record for a 25 on that course. It was a mad day. It was September 89, and I was flying. I was absolutely flying. That was the year when I was racing on the continent. I'd had my best winter's training ever, and I was just flying, and I couldn't get enough races in. And I entered this 25, just for shits and giggles. I remember I went down with John Dixon. We had a lads run down there. He could drive, I couldn't drive at the time. It was nothing to do with my team. I wasn't supposed to be doing it. It was just a personal folly. And we had this mad day, absolutely mad day. So it was downhill to the turn, uphill from the turn, 25-mile time trial. And so all the way down the hill, I'm fighting to keep up like 25 miles an hour, despite the fact that it's downhill, because there was an insane headwind. But then you hit the turn and suddenly you get the tailwind up your bum. And even though it's slightly uphill, I had 56.11 on. I'm spinning that out. And
Good Lord.
I'm just there with my head down, doing a steady 40, 41 miles per hour. And it was just crazy. And I'm looking down, I had a little computer on my low profile bars, and I'm looking at the average speed and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm going to do competition record here. This is crazy. This can't actually be happening. And it just carried on and on, and I'm looking at the figures, and you know what it's like? The adrenaline just makes you go even better. And yeah, it was mad. I mean, I was a junior, and it was a senior event, and I won it by a bloody mile. I set competition record, course record. Oh God, it was crazy. Oh,
Do
happy
you have any
days.
trophies left in the boudoir to remember that?
Not that one. No, you didn't get a trophy for that. You got I can't
A
remember.
pat on the back.
It was an RTTC event, so I would have got something like a check for £15, and maybe a continental quilt, depending on who was sponsoring the event. It was crazy. It was an amateur thing. It wasn't a team thing. I wasn't supposed to be doing it. I was just so fit at that point that I couldn't get enough races. So I did a load of stuff I wasn't supposed to do.
What lovely memories, Boaty.
The week after I did that, I was in Southport, and I did a race called the Birmingham. It was at the King's Gardens in Southport, and it was the event was the Birmingham Midshires International. And again, I shouldn't have been there. I was a junior. It was a senior race. It was Chris Boardman's local race. And he was supposed to win it, and there were all setups and mafia, and it was something that I totally could never have won, because it had two really dead turns into it, and I was always too big. So if there were any turns in a very small, it's called a criterium, a very small circuit race, so multiple laps of a very small circuit. And the King's Gardens had two really tight dead turns in them. And if you were the size that I always was, then you couldn't win in a race like that, because you were too heavy to accelerate your mass out of those corners every 30 or 40 seconds. But I was so fit in 89 that even though I was there on my own without a team, and even though Chris was riding for the North Whittle Velo at the time, and he had a full team with him, and everything was set up. I still did them. I was so fit, it was balmy. I was absolutely flying, and that was when I got.
So you were supplying your own bikes.
Hey.
You were supplying your own bikes.
Yeah, because the bikes that were provided for me by Ernesto Colnago, the most famous and well-respected frame builder in the world was shit. They were unrideable. So my dad and I started building our own frames and
Oh
building
yes,
our
I
own
remember you
wheels.
mentioning this in a previous video.
Yeah, I mean the Team Colnago that I was given, because it had to be so idiotically big. So I've got incredibly long legs.
Hmm.
This won't mean a lot to some people, but it was built with a 71-degree seat tube to allow for a very long top tube to allow for the length of my thighs, which makes perfect sense. But because a 71-degree seat tube, as opposed to a normal 74-degree, meant that the frame wouldn't handle as quickly and as agilely and as well, they went mad with the head tube and gave it a 75.5-degree head tube to try and quicken the frame up. But that just made it unrideable. You couldn't take your hands off the bars. It was so twitchy. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tried it, and I can't be doing this. And I had ideas of my own. And so we started building our own frames, and I experimented with the one thing I always knew, that with a frame that big, there was always going to be too much flex, too much sway in the bottom bracket. And effort that you're putting into the pedals is going to move the bracket from side to side instead of moving the whole thing forward. So I was always obsessed with getting that main triangle smaller. So I experimented with a curved top tube, a dropped top tube with extended head and seat tubes, um, all sorts. And yeah, we just built our own. And honestly, I'm not making this up. I can show you the photos of my frames at that time. And then if you go and look at Tours de France from the early 1990s, after I'd been building these in 87, 88, 89, every idea that I'd had for my own were adopted by the top teams in the early 90s. Look at Miguel Indurain. In 91 and 92, he was quite a big chap, had quite a big frame, and he had a curved top tube and a drop top tube. So I wasn't daft.
No, you certainly weren't, and you were obviously very good. Do you miss it?
Not now. It's a different lifetime. It's a different lifetime. I can't even remember it. Sometimes I even doubt whether it ever happened.
Yeah, no, the 90s seem a long time ago, don't they?
It wasn't the 90s, it was the 80s. I
Well, they
retired.
seem even further away.
I retired through injury in the winter of 89.
Yeah, I
Good.
remember you. I
Yeah.
remember the video that you talked about that,
Yeah,
and you
and
basically didn't go back to racing cycling at all.
I couldn't. I couldn't. And I wanted to at least get back uh, to the enjoyable, leisure community aspect of it. But I was so resentful of the fact that everything that I'd worked for and sacrificed my childhood for had been taken away from me, that I
And the
couldn't.
drugs.
Sorry?
And the drugs that were in the sport.
I didn't know about the drugs because there were no drugs when I was racing. The real life-changing drugs came in late 91. So I never raced through the drugs. So yeah,
So you don't think you competed against anybody who was drugged up?
not drugged up to the extent that it would change them. Not
No.
nothing was available like that. When I was racing, the only drugs that were available would they. I have to use a French phrase here. The drugs that were available would only allow you to perform at your best when you were not at your best. They wouldn't allow you to perform beyond your best, beyond your natural best. The French phrase, which I'll try and translate, is before 91, drugs would not allow you to fart higher than the arse would allow. It doesn't translate very well. But the difference with the
I understand what you're saying.
the difference with the drugs that came in the Edgar Allan Poe in the EPO, they actually allowed you to perform beyond your natural ability, and that's when everything started changing. But I never raced through that. I never experienced it. Um, if I had, well, I'm glad I didn't, because I probably wouldn't have survived.
No, and given your character, you probably wouldn't have wanted to get involved in that.
You see, that's a thing. I don't know. I don't know. I was competitive, and the drugs would have helped me more than they would have helped other people.
Yeah, but your
So
character would probably let you do that, would it?
I don't know. I'm being completely honest. I don't know, and I'm glad I never found out, because
That's very interesting.
if I was being beaten by people that I knew I was naturally superior to, what am I going to do? And I like,
particularly if you've got team management pressures as well.
yeah. Well, yeah, you have. You absolutely have. I don't know. I know better people than me who gave in. Put it that way. It was easier in the 80s. It was easy because you could be courageous. You could be courageous, and you could still be okay. I wasn't completely. I took something once. I did Paris, Brest, Paris, which is just, and Google it on a map to see how far that is. You ride from Paris to Brest, back to Paris. It's a long way. I think it's further than Land's End, John O'Groats. And I took a caffeine suppository, which totally illegal, but my God, it didn't half work. But no, when it came to the, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Part of me thinks that if I'd have carried on from 89 and I was winning, and I suddenly wasn't winning, and I was being beaten by people that were inferior to me, and I knew what was happening, I don't know that I wouldn't have done it. I can't say with my hand on my heart I would have walked away from it.
No,
Greg did.
That's a very honest opinion.
Greg did. Greg LeMond, who I liked very much then and now, he did it straight, but he was at the end of his career. So he obviously won the 89 and 90 Tour de France. And then in 91, when he was better than he'd ever been in his life, he was a nobody and he came nowhere. And he got battered by a bloke who was too big to climb mountains, but EPO allowed him to climb mountains. That's why I said it would have been better for me than for most people, because I'm a big bloke. And Greg just didn't do it, stayed straight, never won anything again, and walked away from the sport. But he was at the end of his career. I was at the beginning of mine. And when you've sacrificed as much as I did for it, are you going to walk away? Or are you going to just think, well, everybody else is doing it, all I'm going to do is level the playing field?
It's a huge dilemma, and if you've got the pressures of the team that you are riding for, and you've got financial incentives to do well, then it takes a very strong character to reject the opportunity to
be
better yourself when you know that everybody else is doing the same.
Yeah. But it was, and this gets covered up in history. I've talked about this before, but in the early days, it was terrifyingly dangerous because nobody knew what they were doing. And that includes the doctors that were administering this stuff. And there were friends of mine, Johannes Dernier. He was a friend of mine. He was 2 years older than me, I think. He was still a kid. And he was taking this stuff. And at that point, nobody knew that, it added more. It added more blood cells to the more oxygen cells to the blood, but it thickened the blood. Now that's great. You can you can absorb more oxygen. You're more effective. Blah blah blah. But it thickened the blood to such an extent that you couldn't sleep through the night because you would have a heart attack or a stroke. The blood was too thick. And so you had to set alarms and wake up every 3 or 4 hours, like on a flight, so that you don't get a DVT. So you had to wake up, get up, walk around to get the blood moving again. Um, but nobody knew that. And so many young men just died in their sleep. Johannes, he was, oh God, he was such a nice kid. And he went to bed with his girlfriend, and she woke up and he was dead. And
Yeah, it's tragedy, absolute tragedy.
it happened a lot, and it was covered up. It was covered up. A lot of young people died. So, again, with the benefit of hindsight, I look back and I think I'm glad I wasn't faced with the choice, because I'm not sure that I would have been as moral as I hope I am now, because I was a competitive animal and I'd sacrificed so much for it. But secondly, I'm glad I didn't, because, you might not have survived. You might
No.
not have survived if you, unless you were one of the big boys and you had the money to ensure that you were on top of everything. A lot of them were just half-assed. They're trying to keep up with, and they haven't got a clue. The doping program was all over the place.
Well, it sounds to me as if you were lucky to decide to, well, I know injury stopped you from cycling when you wanted to continue, but
Yeah.
it was probably the best that you didn't. Anyway, look, I've taken up so much of your time this evening.
Oh, it's been
with my
lovely though.
questions.
Call back, and we'll do this again.
And thank you so much. As I've said on many occasions when I rung in, you've got a brilliant channel. You know you've got a brilliant channel.
Oh, bless you. I
And,
don't, but you're very kind to say so.
And thank you very much, Boaty, and good night to you.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for calling.
Good night.
Good night, mate. Oh, you're not going to see the picture, darlings. It looks lovely. Oh, hang on. Can I quickly show you before?
Yeah, go on, man.
Oh, there we go. There you go. Can you see that? There we go. Good God, and people are still watching even after I talked about cycling. I bet cheeseburgers buggered off. What time is it? Oh God, it's gone midnight as well. I don't care. I enjoyed that. Ring back,
Good night, mate.
and we'll do this again. Okay, good night, mate. Have a safe and peaceful one. Oh, there we are. I really enjoyed that. I will jump back into the comments, and it's going to be time to say good night before we know it, isn't it? That's a dead candle. It's not. Oh, it is now, isn't it? It's literally just that moment died. I was just about to say it's not dead. It is now. It is now. But come on, darlings. Can we have a round of applause for that candle? Because that candle has done amazingly well. Tomorrow night, darlings, you get a fresh candle. Boaty, we thought we were going to lose you, skinny dipping, say Steakog. Nope, I'm still here. Right, I'm going to have to hope the candle isn't too hot for your table. No, it's fine. Right, I'm going to have to whiz through these, darlings, and sod off because I am knackered. Boaty, if you're even refurbing, you need building regs. You need them in theory, even if you just change an internal door. Why? So you're telling me that if I change that door in Windy Bottom, I've got to get building regulations? Surely not. In a commercial property, I could understand it, but in a private residence, I don't believe that. Surely you don't need building regulations to change an internal door in a private residence. Surely you don't. Hmm. Da, da, da. Oh, bless you, Richard. Boaty, we all think the world of you. Do things that make you happy, no matter how big or small. Oh, spitting at you. Uh, oh, Alan Simpson joined us right at the. Oh, I'm just whizzing through these. Um, Fancy asking about push irons. That's the next half hour gone, and indeed it was. Oh, that I know what the comments are going to say now. Yeah, I knew it. A cheeseburger. I'm feeling sleepy. Can't think why. First rule of the bugs: don't mention bicycles. I know that. Yeah, yes, yeah, I knew you weren't going to be happy. I see viewers are dropping. That is still 57 of you. Uh, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I knew I'd get grief. I knew I would get grief for this. Sorry, I'm just whizzing. God, how many more? Can we have a dedicated bike night so the rest of us can watch the news instead? Um, Boaty, building regs. Yes, I needed them to put a radiator in my conservatory. I urge you to speak to the architect about it. There is no architect, Cheeseburger. Right. Cheesy, I think you're getting mixed up. Right. I've got 3 projects on the go. Okay? 3 projects. The one is already complete. It needs nothing doing. There's no change of use, no refurbishment, no work. It's already an Airbnb. It's going to continue to be an Airbnb. I'm just taking it over. Okay, that's one. The other project is the one above the restaurant in Claycross. It's going to be a boutique hotel. Right now, that one is being done by us. We own the building. We're in control of it all. We've got architects, we've got a team of builders, we've got everything. It's all being done by the book. Every I is being dotted, every T is being crossed. There are no issues with that. That one's done, number 2. The third one is the one above the restaurant in Ripley. That's the one with the problem builders, right? Now, there's no architect to speak to. I am not in control. We are not in control. We are not doing anything with it. The landlord is having all of the work done, or except it's not being done. He owns the building. He's contracted the builders. He's responsible for the building regs and all of that. We are nothing to do with it as yet. Until the keys are handed, it's his building, it's nothing to do with us. Until the keys are handed over to me and I become responsible for it, then I will do certain things. But as things stand, I can do nothing with that. Absolutely nothing. Right, and I have caught up with the comments by ignoring them all. Oh, no, I didn't pound the box. I didn't pound the box. If you were spending, right, Cheesy, are you not listening to me? If you are spending 52k with a builder, you will need building regs. I wouldn't take the keys. I'm not spending £52,000 with a builder. It's nothing to do with me. I don't know how else to explain it. It's nothing to do with me. The guy who owns the building is having some work done. What he's got in place or not, I don't really know. I'm certainly not able to control or get involved with anything. All I know is that I'm going to be handed a private dwelling at some point, allegedly, and it will be in a certain condition. That's all I know. Um, so yeah, I'm not spending 52K with a bloody builder. I'm spending money with her, or the company is spending money with the builder at the other place. But that's not 52K. That's going to be more like 500,000. But that's not the problem child. The problem child is this one. And in theory, it's not my problem. So as you say, I can just not take the keys. I can just not do it. End of problem. Except that we do lease the area below the property, and the issues with the property above are impinging on our business below. Anyway, it's time for me to bugger off, get a shower, get something to eat, and yeah, right. So let's do that. You all need to go to bed. I certainly need to go to bed. I am absolutely discombobulated. That's what I am. So let's do that. No, don't ring me. Not at this time of bleeding night. Oh, let's pound the box and then let's go to bed, shall us? Right, there you go. One box, £1, £1, bosh, pounded. That's that done. And right. No, don't right. I'm going off before anybody rings me. I'm knackered. I'm sleep deprived. I haven't even unpacked my case. My case is sitting down there. I've got to do some washing up so I can have my right. Where am I? Yes. Thank you for being with me tonight. It's been absolutely lovely. I've enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. All that remains is for me to wish you a safe and peaceful night and a good day ahead. I hope there's some pleasure that you can take from it in some way, some shape, some form. And if you can't do that, I hope the day is at least manageable for you. Again, thank you so much for your company. Really? Really? Oh, I was just about to answer that and it's gone. Is that a new? Oh, I missed a voice note.
I'd also leave because if the bailiffs come to clear out the restaurants there, because they'll say it's all into one, maybe.
No, they won't. No, they won't. Right, darling. So, yeah.
And if they go after them, they'll just get bankrupt as everybody else does, sir. That's what these bloody cowboys do.
Oh, right.
Just set up another business tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not my problem, is it? Not my bleeding problem. Right then, darlings. A new candle will be lit tomorrow night, same time, same place, at 11 o'clock. In the meantime, all the love in the world for me. Thank you so much for your company tonight, as always. And I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, pachoo! And indeed, oh yes,